Kara, I know I give you heck. That was pretty good. I think that, and I got the Roosevelt one, fourth cousin. You can't do that now, but you used to could. Uh, anyway, our guest today is Stillwater's own. Yes, in Arkansas it does go. Is well, maybe southeast Missouri. There we go. Yeah. Terri Collier, our rebel without a cause here in Stillwater, has been writing since she was 5 years old, and she can still talk about it, which is kind of a miracle. I can't get over this. She grew up at Table Rock in Missouri, and her high school is one you've never heard of called Blue Eye. So I assume that's kind of the litmus test on getting in. OSU finance degree, vice president of Bank First. Steve, spin it, or just put it on 5. And past chair of the chamber under a very easy time. And 35-year volunteer, Special Olympics. She's a founding board member of Kickin Childhood Hunger. So Terri, come on up. Thanks for being here. Oh yeah, you got that. Sorry, that's for me to comment.
Okay, look at me. You can hear me.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
It's a beautiful day to be in Stillwater. It's a chamber day. So I've got a lot to talk about today. All sorts of things to talk to you about. First of all, I want to thank you for having me and listening to my crazy story and the cause that I am doing this crazy story for. So as Chris said, I did grow up on Table Rock Lake, and I was the best son that my daddy never had. And so we learned to ride motorcycles and race cars fast and just go fast and boat and all sorts of things. So in that nature, he actually bought me my first motorcycle when I was 5 years old. So I started riding pretty much in the Collier family. We have a joke that when you fall out in the labor delivery room, you go fast. Just go immediately. Dad raced cars all over the United States, and we traveled a little bit of a carnival life because he was a semi-professional race car driver. I was raised with a lot of the big names, the Missouri boys and Arkansas racers that ended up in NASCAR. So it's just the nature of where I came from. So it's nothing special to me because it's just who I am. It's just where I came from. Moved the clock up. We ended up getting into Oklahoma. During the oil boom, things went kind of south down there in the woods in Missouri. And so my dad was a fabricator, and we moved to Oklahoma, and he was fabricating Dowell oil trucks. And so that's how we got here. They ended up dumping me off in Stillwater. I kind of liked it here. I kind of liked you guys. You had more jobs than we had in Blue Eye, Missouri. And I ended up staying here, and I started working at Stillwater Savings and Loan. I know some faces in the room that are going to go, oh, yeah, you knew Jack Fox. He was my first supervisor. So I learned from the best and then went to Bank First from there. And my parents moved back to Table Rock, so they live in Table Rock now. So as I went along in the community, working for Stillwater Savings and then working for Bank First, it was an amazing way to grow up as a professional. The greatest thing about being a banker with both of those organizations was that they let me be myself, but they helped me become a professional. And so I was able to take the raw edges that I had on me when I got here, round those off a little bit, and get down to do the hard work that my dad taught me to do. So that's how I've stayed in banking for quite a few years. I did at 25 years in banking decide I'm kind of tired of this and I want to do something different. So I just quit banking and bought a motorcycle magazine. And so not what most smart people do, but, cashed in my retirement. So I've kind of had one retirement already. And I did that for 10 years. And I enjoyed it. I got to ride all over the United States, and I rode a lot alone. I have a chopper and an 8.5-foot long big dog chopper, and I also have a Harley Davidson Street Glide. And so when I got into the magazine, I bought the Street Glide because it was my workhorse and I could drag piles of magazines all over with me. Had a great time doing that. It was a blast. It was so much fun. But as many of you know, print advertising kind of went in the ditch. So I came back to banking. As soon as I got back into banking, I got back into the community of Stillwater. I always lived in Stillwater, but traveling all over the United States kind of took me out of doing a lot of civic things and a lot of community efforts. So when I got back here, right before I was done with the magazine, Tommy Foreman and Lynn Youngblood and Foreman Harley Davidson and I had gotten kind of taken under the wing of a news reporter in Oklahoma City who wanted us to help sponsor a Feed the Children motorcycle ride. And he was charging an astronomical amount of money for people to ride motorcycles in a big line from Oklahoma City to Foreman Harley Davidson. And we were like, sure, we'll do that as long as you'll share the money with our Stillwater kids, because the weekend food sack here in Stillwater, we knew needed the money. We didn't know the need really at that time. We did that for 2 years. They didn't give us any money. We were really upset about that, to say the least. Tommy Foreman, if any of you in the room know that man, he was livid, to say the least, and he let them know. So we, at that point, went to the local food bank. The Methodist church is where we went to first. And they're the ones that stuff the most food sacks for the weekend food sacks for children. And so when we went to them, we found out that they needed a lot of money, and they needed it now, because they were, number one, they were having to reduce the size of the bags just to get enough bags out to the kids. And so at that point, we decided this has to happen. We created Kickin Childhood Hunger. It is a 501c3 organization. We started in 2014, so we are on our 10th year. And I'm really proud to announce that in the past 10 years, we have raised over $750,000 for childhood hunger. Thank you. So what we do is we simply raise money. That's what Kickin Childhood Hunger does. As you heard earlier, Pam Moore is on the board and Roy Lays, they're both here today on the board. And there's about 10 or 12 of us. I need to count because I keep doing this and I can't remember how many there are. There's a bunch of us. And we're a very hard-working board. We work the events that are held for us. We help each other with events, even if they're having something. Jeannie Lays, Roy's wife, is on this, and she works at Exchange Bank, and if they're doing something at Exchange Bank, we offer our help to do it. So we got together and we said, we got to do this. So we started raising funds, and at first we did it through a motorcycle ride, and we got some money, but that just wasn't enough to meet our needs. We promised Stillwater that absolutely every cent that we got, 50% of it went to Stillwater. It stays in Stillwater. So that includes the elementary school, the junior high, middle school, high school. But we also accommodate places like Seville Center, Wings of Hope, because a lot of them will have closets or pantries that the children that are there being served can get something to eat. And that's kind of widespread as to the places that we do that too. But we also serve 60-mile radius around Stillwater. So let me give you a little example. Kickin Childhood Hunger. I went, as our board, we always try to make as many of the food sack stuffing that we can. And at the Methodist Church alone, they only serve Stillwater Elementary School. And at the Methodist Church alone, the last month we did it was in April of this year, and we stuffed 3,000 food sacks. That was 1 month of food. 1 month. So we're talking 750 children a week in elementary alone need a food sack, a weekend food sack. And these are kids that need it. And the really great thing for us is we don't have to label them. We don't have to figure out who they are, and they don't have to be exposed in their school. So these kids actually, the teachers and the educators at the schools, they recognize the children that need them. And they kind of figure out who that is. And then the food sacks are created, they're boxed, they're taken to the schools, they're distributed to the classrooms in a discrete manner so that the children's backpacks, they go out to lunch or whatever, they might go to another classroom, and the teachers discreetly stuff those in their backpacks so that if they don't want other children to know, no other children know that they're getting the food sacks. Because imagine that, not only are you a young child who's hungry, but now you got to deal with your classmates stealing your food or making fun of you for needing food. So as horrible as that may sound, we know that happens, So our food sacks cost about $7.50 a piece, a sack. And so we're constantly doing that number in our head. Now, I will tell you, 10 years ago when we started, the food sacks were averaging about $4 a sack. Nobody can tell me that inflation has not hit us. We're at $7.50 for about the same food sack. There's about 12 items in the food sack. If you look, I've got my social media is Where We Riding Tea, and I've got some pictures on there, and then our Kickin Childhood Hunger social media also has some pictures of a typical food sack. It might have a fruit cup in it, it'll have some Rice Krispies, it'll have a little bowl of cereal, some raviolis, kind of a various goldfish, of course, has to be in there, and but kind of a varied amount of things. Now, some people look at that and go, oh my gosh, you're just feeding those children sugar. Well, let me tell you what, a kid starving, even starving a kid may be a picky eater. It's just how it is. Now, the really great thing, and I knew nothing about this before I got involved with Kickin Childhood Hunger, but one of the greatest things is the food producers actually give an option of selecting these foods that you and I see as very sugary at half the sugar content or a reduced sugar content. And so the children may not know, but they're getting a reduced sugar in their Rice Krispie treat or what have you. So that's a wonderful thing. That's just such a grand thing. So each year about this time, Pam sends out letters to, Pam's our secretary, she sends out letters, which are applications, to the schools in our area, the different programs that we have become familiar with in our area, and they're an application. We have them apply every single year so that we can keep track of what's going on and where our money goes. The board gets together and we hands-on look at every single application. We have the program director come in and talk to us about their program. And sometimes we have to question them, hey, are you sure this is enough money? Usually we have to say, is this enough money? Rather than saying, well, you're asking for way too much. But we do have those. And so as we've gotten experience in this, we have found that our experience and our knowledge has helped a lot of other programs get started and get off the ground, which we're so proud of, because there's a lot of programs that started from us putting the word out. And so that's wonderful. There's a lot of people that still don't know about us. We've kind of ran under the radar quite a long time. We have most of our money and most of our funds have been raised through a private invitation gala that we started about 8 years ago. And we basically, literally, as a board, we went through, it's free for people to come, but we made a list of people that we knew cared about our community, cared about children, and would donate when they came to the event. So if you're not on that list, you want on that event, see Pam or myself or Roy, we'd be happy to add you. Come with your checkbooks. You're welcome. There's just no bones about that. That's what we have it for. And it's a great night. We have, fortunately, Kicker is a big part, and boy, can they ever get some really cool gifts. So we together get the gifts. So we do a silent auction. Now, so why am I here and what am I doing and why is my motorcycle plastered up here with Kickin Childhood Hunger on the side of it? So back to my riding motorcycles. I like to do what I call ride the long road. A lot of people think a long ride is 100 miles or so around town. To me, a long ride's anywhere over 750 miles in a day. And so I ride a long road, right? Thank God for J-Lo's popular. But so I actually, I actually really like to ride long distances, and I have no science about it. I don't know why or how that came to be, other than I have ADD, and when you're on a motorcycle, every one of your faculties is paying attention, and you're comfortable because you got all of this going on all the time, and it really settles me down. You're ready for it, aren't you? You gonna go ride with me? I see her back there. She's like, oh, wow, there's a resolve. So, so what I'm going to do is called the Hoka Hey Motorcycle Challenge. And in short, I am riding 10,000 miles. I have 10 to 20 days to complete my ride. I cannot use a GPS. I'll be doing old school paper maps. For those youngins in the room, see me afterwards, I'll explain. And they actually give us line by line directions of where we will go. So currently, I know that I will start in Daytona, Florida. I know that we're going to go through the Keys, which that road's easy. I can figure that one out. And then we will end in Homer, Alaska. So I got a real ride to do. Oh, but wait, I can't sleep inside. We camp the entire way by our bike. We have to sleep by our bike. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot. There's bears in Canada and a lot. That's all I know is, oh my, what do I do there? So we sleep by our bike. So the Hoka Hey Motorcycle Challenge was founded by a man named Jim Red Cloud. He's a Native American, and he wanted to produce a ride on motorcycles, the Iron Horse, as a lot of people call it, that kind of mimicked what the Native Americans went through when they all gathered at Bear Butte, South Dakota, and they made Custer's Last Stand. They gave absolutely everything they had to defend the cause that they believed in. And in doing so, a lot of them lost their lives, we know that. But they knew that when they went into that battle, that they knew what they were doing. They knew that they had to stand for a cause and a purpose. So when Jim Red Cloud created this ride, he said, you're going to ride 10,000 miles, because there were approximately 10,000 Native Americans that went into that battle that had ridden up from all over on their real horse. And we're going to make it so that you have to depend on yourself. You have to really look deep into yourself in making this mission happen. And so, sure, so I signed up for it. I want to do this. You know, Jim Red Cloud said that this is a ride of passion. This is a ride of going the distance. This is like meeting your pinnacle and putting yourself clear out there. And in the end of it, absolutely every rider that I've spoken to so far who have ridden it have said that they came out at the end a different person from absolutely everything they experienced on it. So they also asked for us to choose a cause. And so the cause that was most near and dear to my heart and that I knew I could rally my city around was Kickin Childhood Hunger. And so for the last year, I've been raising funds for Kickin Childhood Hunger. My goal, which my lovely board basically set for me, is $75,000. That's 10,000 food sacks for 10,000 miles. So every mile I ride, I'll buy a food sack, basically. I hope we exceed that. I can tell you that so far it's going wonderfully. Up until last Thursday, I had already collected $22,000. And last Thursday, I went on a ride to over 20 businesses in town. The mayor did a proclamation for Kickin Childhood Hunger Day, and I raised $30,740 in that one day for Kickin Childhood Hunger. So I'm currently right about $56,000. So I'm getting there. Slowly but surely we're getting there. And we do have the gala that's coming up. And then during my ride, I do a lot of social media fun stuff to try to raise awareness and raise money. And it's really been a lot of fun. It's been a great year. It's been a fun year of planning. and the board's gotten behind it, and we're really excited about it. So I've gotten a lot of great support from the community. I've gotten great support. Foreman Harley Davidson actually supported the servicing of my bike clear up to last night. I picked it up out of the closed shop, and they helped me pass the closing. And so that was very sad. They had to choke back some tears as I drove away, but you know, they served this community. Tommy Foreman served this community very well. But yeah, them and my biker attorney and Santa Fe Customs, and then Fox Suspensions came in and put a complete suspension on my bike. So now I ride like a Cadillac, and it's been awesome. But yeah, I've had a lot of help along the way. I can't do this by myself for sure. So, what time are we on? We're good. Okay, questions? Go ahead, Joe.
How many go on the ride?
So each year they accept 100 new riders, and we have an application. We send in our application and it's kind of our ride resume, and they look it over. They give us a couple of phone calls to interview us, and then they accept 100 new. Anybody who has ridden it before may ride again. Usually about 200 to 250 ride the ride. About you take off together. So we start together, and they kind of keep us in a pack for a little ways, and I think that's for safety, just so that people aren't going hair-raising, passing each other from the start. But we ride together for a little while, and then it's just on your own. You just take off and ride. I mean, it's kind of a safety factor. You don't want to ride in a pack for too long. I don't like riding in a pack too much. I mean, I do, but I like riding by myself. And a lot of the reason for that is if you ride with somebody, for me, let me say, if I ride with someone that rides slower than me, I get really nervous and angst because they're dragging me. Yeah, I just feel like I'm pulling them. And if somebody's riding faster than you, you might push yourself more than you should. And you know what can happen then. So most of the riders will ride by themselves. Like I said, I've not done it yet, but I've talked to a lot of the riders and kind of gotten some word from them of what to expect. And they say that a lot of them will ride separate, and then you might run into somebody and ride along for a ways. And then when it's time to bed down, you might like kind of keep looking to see if there's anybody anywhere and just pull in with them. So one funny story, one of the girls said, because I was talking to her about where she liked to stay, and you know, like, I don't know, there's a lot of popular places, churches, weirdly cemeteries, and places people don't normally go, you know, at night. So real quiet places. So no, that's not for you. You're out. Okay. Conjuring some spirits, aren't you? But she said, yeah, I was riding along, and she goes, about the third day, every morning I woke up, this guy was parked there sleeping, you know, not creepy by any means, just there he was. And she had bedded down at night by herself, and she goes, about the third morning, he woke up with her, and she's like, hey, I really appreciate you stopping, you know, and kind of watching over me, but if you want to go on, that's fine, go ahead. And he was like, I don't want to stay out here alone. I'm just glad when I see you, I pull over. So, yeah, so anyway, any other, yeah?
So your goal is like, so your goal you said is what, 75,000? Did I get that right?
Yes, sir.
Now, will all of that go to the money that you raise? So each rider has to raise their own money?
Each rider raises their own money, and they pick their own cause. And they only really, the crazy thing is that Hoka Hey only recommends that you raise $5,000, but you know, the overachievers in the room can't stop at $5,000.
So all of that would go, that you raise would go to Kickin Childhood Hunger?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, each individual rider, however much money they raise, goes to their own individual. Some of our fee to get in, the entry fee, some of that goes to the tribe in Homer, Alaska. And also us riders will donate money to that tribe too, because they have an education program that we're also raising money for overall as that group. So,
Quick
Terri.
question: Do you all ride the same route?
yes.
Okay,
So
so
I'll have a tracker on me. So go to my social media now, Where We Riding Tea, like, follow. I'm going to be posting my tracker out there, and the tracker's already on my bike right now. And when I post that tracker, you will be able to follow me absolutely the entire route. I will also post a tracker that is for the entire group. So you'll be able to see when the group goes that way and I'll go that way. You'll be like, she's going to have a bad day. Because if I go that way and I was supposed to stay on the exact route, I cannot get off that route. If I do get off that route, I have to find my way back and figure out where I left that route. And I have to go back to that point and start again because you can't miss any of the roadway.
Terri, isn't going through Alaska, isn't part of the Alaskan highway gravel?
It could be.
Or has it been
It's
completed?
been, they say that it has been fixed. Now, what my buddies tell me is that up there, like you might fix a road, fixing it may mean crushing the asphalt until they can get it asphalted again.
Well,
So-
for many years it was just gravel. So I didn't know
Right.
if you're prepared, if you've ridden on gravel roads with your bike or not.
I'm from Blue Eye, Missouri. Yes, sir, I have.
All right.
Going to my daddy's house looks like this. That. It's crazy. But yeah, I've ridden on gravel and I actually practiced. I had some practice challenges leading up to this over the last year. And those challenges are grueling in themselves. They're different. You use a GPS, but you get points for doing certain things. And you gain the most points riding on really sandy or really gravelly or rough roads. So every time it's like, yep, I'm picking that one. I'm going to get those points because I can do that. I just ride it like a dirt bike. Just stand up on it and get it. Pretty much.
Terri?
You just do.
My wife's active with this with the Methodist Church, and she
Yeah.
said that it costs them roughly $20,000 a month to do those food sacks.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is really cool. I was wondering. Now I am from Southeast Oklahoma, so my math might not be well, but I've got you at about 13 days if you average 750 miles.
Yes, I actually want to, I'm shooting for 13 to 14. If I do that, I get to finish as an elite finisher, is the classification that you have on that. There's no prize. You get a patch to wear on your vest if you finish the ride, period. If you finish as an elite finisher, you get a patch that's about this big that says elite finisher. And I do want to finish in 14 days. They have an end of the road party on the 17th of August, and I want to finish that. Our gala is on August 16th, and so I am planning to call in to the gala and do a live announcement of where I'm from at the gala. And Lynn Youngblood, she's our treasurer, she said, you're going to call in from your motel room in fuzzy slippers. That's just how it's going to be. I'm like, yes, ma'am, I'll do
How
it.
fast are you planning on going? What
Well, I cannot get a moving violation.
you cannot.
No.
Okay.
If you get a moving violation, you're disqualified. If you break 100 miles an hour, you're disqualified. Right? So I've been practicing for a year, and I've only broken 100 twice. And that was getting on ramps because I don't like messing around with traffic. Just get ahead of them and you're done. But so I think I'm doing pretty good. That's a record. My dad says I'm lying, but it's okay. He
So how
taught
many
me.
hours a day are you going to ride?
I'll be on that bike about 18 hours a day. Yeah, the challenges I do, I'm right about that many hours, and I get my gas stops. I know nobody wants to go. I don't get it. Yeah.
You're not allowed to go to a hotel.
Right. No hotel.
You're not allowed to go to a hotel.
Right.
You have to sleep by your bike.
Right.
How does one maintain cleanliness on the trip?
You're not going to want to hug me when I'm done. So I used to backpack, so I'm kind of used to that sort of. But I do like showers. However, all the truck stops have showers. We do, the roads that they're gonna send us on are 2-lane for the most part. They try to avoid all the 4 lanes that they can because they want it to be grueling on purpose. They wanna keep you off the 4 lanes, which I'm fine with. And so whenever we intersect with a truck stop, maybe on an interstate crossover, then we'll be able to grab a truck stop, garden hose. Our 3 checkpoints, Rogers, Arkansas, I still drink out of a garden hose, I'm sorry. Our 3 checkpoints, Rogers, Arkansas, Wyoming, and Montana are our checkpoints. So when I leave Daytona, I'll have directions to Rogers. When I leave Rogers, I'll have directions to Wyoming. And so I know that they've said that they put garden hoses out at the dealerships for you to kind of rinse off. But so my jacket, Pam, would you hold my jacket up? I have a jacket that, this is a Gore-Tex jacket. It has pads in it. It has vents that zip, unzip, and you can get the airflow through you. And then we wear like the wicking undergarments. And I have like 3 levels. I have a it's hot out, oh my gosh, level. And then I have clear to, I'm in Alaska, it's really cold and I'm freezing to death, so I have all the layers on. But they actually do a really good job of wicking away the sweat, and they somehow miraculously take some of the smell away. Anyway, that's what I like to tell myself. Nobody will mess with me when I'm sleeping, though.
So they're not they're only anti-hotel room. They're not anti. You can shower all you want. You can stop where you want.
You're right.
Just the hotel you can't do.
Right. They just want you to rough it. Yeah. Yeah. You can shower. Yeah, Bonnie.
How would you handle a mechanical failure on the route?
Well, I'd get my tool bag out and I would see if it's something I was familiar with. And if not, I'm going to call my trusty Ben Morgan, who used to work at Foreman's, and say, Ben, here we are. And we'll look at what's going on, and then I will see if I can fix it if it doesn't need a part. And if it does need a part, then maybe one of the Hoka Hey people will come along and have the part, because some of them carry almost a whole bike with them. We can't take a trailer, by the way. But then I'll just call AAA, have them take the bike somewhere. Now, we can take the bike somewhere. We can have it fixed, but I have to go back to this place I left and start again. So it's happened.
Did you not tell me that in addition to the 10,000 miles, you're going to drive your bike out there to Florida, and
Correct.
you're going to make your decision when you get to Alaska whether or not you're going to drive it back?
Correct.
So the total miles is,
It would be about 17,000 if I do the full turnaround in a month.
unbelievable. Well,
Yeah.
once you know, everybody at Bank First, spend that well if you want to. I don't care. We're so proud of you, and we're going to be praying for a safe return. And
Thank
can't
you.
wait to see this adventure happen.
Yeah, I would like as many prayers as I would like to get the money for the kids, for sure. Thank you.
Terri, thank you very much. I propose that we do a table donation today. So if you have green pictures of dead presidents in your pocket, drop them on the table, and we'll get those to you.
Thank
And
you.
Terri, thank you so much. It's an
Thank you.
amazing venture. And by the way, do you know? Have you talked to Stephen Cundiff? Because our group does backpacks also over Christmas holidays for
Yeah, we do.
for the Eastern.
Don't we
Payne
finance
County.
theirs?
We do some.
Our club finances it along with some other folks.
Yeah.
Okay, I know like some of the schools in particular, Richmond always gets money for over break. Westwood does, Sanger has at times, and then some of the outlying areas has.
We do Yale, Ripley. Stephen, are you here today? And Glencoe. So we do those
Yeah,
over the
we
holiday
started.
season. So anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
All right.